182. Let's get to the fourth film in the Purge franchise, which is The First Purge. Came out in 2018. Is directed by Gerard McMurray, written by James DeMonico. Stars Yolande Noel, Lex Scott Davis, Jovan Wade, Steve Harris, Patrick Dara, Marissa Tomei. And the synopsis is America's third political party, the new founding fathers of America, comes to power and conducts an experiment. No laws for 12 hours on Staten Island. No one has to stay on the island, but $5,000 is given to anyone who does. So I remember having, really not liked election year. I thought this one was very interesting for a number of reasons because it did show you how the purge got started, which that's interesting in its own right to me. And then also it was being directed by somebody else. And I actually had seen this director's first movie back when I was at Sundance the year before, I think, which I enjoyed. I was like, okay, pretty unconventional choice there. I'm definitely in. I would love to see anyone direct these movies besides James DeMonico, just as a different vision, even if it's still written by him, just someone who has a different eye for things. And I've seen it probably 3 times over the years, and this is definitely right below or right on par with The Purge Anarchy for being my favorite of the franchise. Some people really rag on this one and seem to see it below a lot of others. I don't really get that. I think that this movie by far is one of the smartest in terms of the direction, the storytelling. It has way more ideas going on. Not to say anything is crazy deep, but this is by far the one that gives me the most impact from a thematic level. And it also really does give you a good perspective into having seen the first Purge movie and how things began. And of course, these rich white politicians are wanting to do the purge in order to get rid of the poor, minorities, and whatever other groups that might be inhibiting them from gaining power or whatever else it might be. So that sadly is very much a reality, in a variety of ways in the real world. But purely from how the story is being told, who it's being told by, really helps. And I also like it being in this Staten Island neighborhood. Like, it's fairly contained, but it's open enough to where it's not too boxed in like the Purge, the first one is. So I don't really have like anything crazy to say about this movie in terms of one scene that blows me away or whatever. It's more so it takes something like Anarchy or Election Year, all the same pieces, but it just does it way better to me. And the performances are better. The score is good. I think the designs of the Purgers are very effective considering the situation. I mean, there's the KKK Purgers with gas masks. It's really, they just go all out in these really horrifying character designs, but it's very effective in that way. And even the action itself is way more intense, more suspenseful, more cleverly put together. Like the drone attack is really good. The street party sequence with the maniac guy is a little overdone, but I think it's still a pretty vicious, effective sequence. Also, the sequence at the end I think it's an apartment complex with the purgers coming in and there's that cat and mouse sequence. I think that is really good, very solid, and it's a very good ending. I think this is probably the only one, even more so than Anarchy, that ends really well. I think it ends in a very satisfying way. So really almost no big issues. It's maybe a little too long, but I really wish that they would find a little bit more to do with some of the sequels if they make more in terms of this way. Oh, and also another reason why I wanted to see it was, and it was pretty surprising, is to see Marissa Tomei in this in a big lead role. And so I think she is awesome in this. I love her really in everything, and that definitely added a little bit of star power, a little bit better acting chops. So I really appreciate her for choosing to be in this, because not a lot of people would, I feel like. So I really think she's a good fit in this, and I wish they would get more big actors like this, because it's not so bad of a movie or so bad of a franchise that you couldn't get a few bigger stars to really add a little bit more class, I guess, to this series, but really do enjoy her. The probably one of the most well done sequences horror wise is the Star Spangled Banner montage, I guess you could call it, where there's the baseball field and there's the police officers who are really, maybe I'm wrong, who are seem to be dressed up as 60s police officers in the civil rights and all the riots where police were wearing all the masks, because of the tear gas and all that stuff. It seemed very, very 60s to me, intentionally so. Oh, and one random thing I do remember when this movie came out as well that was intriguing is it was a big deal because one of the posters, or the first poster that they used, was the pretty iconic Trump red hat, MAGA hat, but it said the First Purge across it, and that definitely caused a little bit of a stir. And, it's very much a marketing visual tease, but stuff like that, it can add something. I appreciate that they were a little bit more daring with what they were trying to communicate. But besides that, the guys with the horn masks and like helmets and stuff, that's a very, very good visual. And so I think that this director, Gerard McMurray, really did add some very memorable parts to this movie. Even if it's not perfect, it's very much, for one thing, way better than Election Year. So that one is a heavy 4 out of 5